Before we get started, I just want to take a second to thank each and every one of you for helping to make 2021 my best YouTube year ever. Whether you're a patron, a returning subscriber, or a new face, none of this would be possible without you. If you like what I'm doing here, be sure to leave a like and a comment. Let me know your thoughts. Make sure you subscribe as well, and hit that bell so you always know when I'm dropping something else. Imagine, it's the new year. You're getting on ye old bird app to engage in some good old-fashioned doom scrolling where you lament your own existence and the state of culture around you with your other misanthropes. And you come across this, a page from a 9-month-old Superman comic book that highly implies an assault of a very intimate nature on the Man of Steel. Now, I kind of don't even know what to do with this. To be fair, although this is my first time seeing this page, and a lot of other people's apparently, it did get some coverage back in last March when it first dropped. Two people that I know definitely talked about it back then are Tristan over on Nerdette's Newsstand, as well as the Comics Explained channel. Let's just say Comics Explained was perfectly fine with this whole thing, and actually really liked the issue in general. And Tristan just wasn't feeling it at all. Honestly, he's the only person I know who both dissected this book and really liked it. I'm kind of two minds about this, and I'm owning that one of those sides is more of a hot take, but on one hand, this doesn't really bother me. I mean, it bothers me to the extent that any mention of this type of assault would bother any well-adjusted person, but I'm not bothered by its usage in the context of the story. For starters, we've seen Superman in a very weak and defeated position before. And this is not me saying that these are exactly the same things. Yes, the act is much different. It can actually happen to you. You're not really likely to go outside and see someone defeated by an intergalactic ultra tyrant and then parade that person around as like a trophy to say, hey, I beat your champion. However, the end result, in my opinion, is the same. Superman, the Man of Steel, is being broken down, humiliated, even violated. I don't like seeing it. I never like seeing it. It always makes me feel very, very uneasy. This is a core part of Starfire's backstory, and y'all know how I feel about Starfire. If I remember correctly, in the original New Teen Titans comic book, it wasn't said explicitly, but it was very heavily implied by Starfire herself that on the occasions where she was taken into captivity before she came to Earth, some people did some strange things to her. I'll put the actual page up on the screen here just so you can see what I'm talking about and judge for yourself. My point though is I don't see this as a no-go zone because let's look at what's really going on here. This is a few panels on one page in one issue of an anthology series. They don't even explicitly say RAEP or SA. Oh, good Lord, I hate censoring myself like this. It just feels so unnatural. But you know what? I get it. And because I get it, that leads me to my next point. Because regardless of how it was handled, regardless of how it was depicted, there's no way readers, particularly fans of Superman, are going to want to open a Superman comic book and watch this happen to him. Even if it's just one vague implication in a couple panels. This is Superman we're talking about. The first superhero as we know them today. Multiple generations have walked the earth since his inception. Even with the weird state that comics and comic culture is in, and nerd culture in general is in right now, he's still a tremendous force of strength, hope, overcoming adversity. He has transcended the medium that birthed him so much that having something like this happen to him, that tells me, as if we needed more evidence, that DC just has no idea what they're doing with this character or any of their characters. A lot of people have thrown out different things that DC stands for. I know Eric July calls them Dead Company. I'm thinking I'm gonna throw out one of my own right now. From now on, when I hear DC, I think DisConnected. They have completely lost touch with their characters, the characters that they have been tasked with writing and with keeping alive throughout the years. They have lost touch with their readership. They have no idea what to do with these people. And so when writers come in who aren't connected to these characters and don't really know them and they throw out these ideas, there should be someone at DC, in my opinion, that's like, not for this character. You can do it for somebody else. You can make your own character and do that. Not with this guy. Because the fact of the matter is, everything doesn't work for every character, just like everything doesn't work for every person. Certain things happening to certain characters is going to hit people different. And having such a dark, degrading, gritty thing happen to the symbol of hope, someone at DC had to know that wasn't the move. And instead of doing the right thing, they just let it go. So yes, on one hand, I don't share everybody else's emotional, visceral rejection to this off the bat. I watched some other videos about the issue. I looked up what it was about. I read some of the pages myself. I don't think it was the worst thing, but that's me. I'm looking at this also as someone who understands who Superman is as a character, what he means to people, the connection people have with him, and the fact that we've been getting such schlock, especially from the mainstream for so long, from so many different areas. The last thing DC needs to be doing with this character is something like this. Why do you think Superman and Lois did gangbusters last year? Yeah, the show's awesome. The show's absolutely great. I can't wait for season 2 to start. But I think that a lot of the absolute rush to even watch that show was because we've been getting stuff that no one was feeling. Or it would be something like Zack Snyder's take on Superman, where it's extremely divisive. You have some fans who love it and eat it up, and you have some who can't stand it, feel like it's an absolute desecration to everything the character stands for. Even if it's part of a larger story, and even if it's done in the most tasteful way possible, like the way it's depicted in the story is basically he was in hostile territory in another country. They used like some low-grade kryptonium to depower him, and they held him captive. And while he was there for 8 months, they assaulted him every day for 8 months. They never show it, they never explicitly say it, but based on the imagery and word choice, it is heavily, heavily implied. And I just think it's just more evidence that DC has never been more disconnected from their own characters or their fan base. So I'm going to close this out with a very simple statement. And this really goes to all my fellow indie and up-and-coming comic creators or storytellers of whatever medium. Know the character that you're writing for, whether you created him or not. Know the character that you are writing for. If a line has been established, unless it's for a really, really, really good reason and you are really talented, it's best not to cross it. And if you feel like you just gotta cross it, then just write something else. That's gonna be all for me today. Thank y'all for watching and listening. Until the next time, I'm Adam Main, and I'll talk to y'all later. Deuces.